In section 2 of chapter 5, we're going to do the exact same things again. Because if you looked at section 1, you might have noticed something. And it's a trend that's going to be very, very common throughout this entire class. You were simplifying rational functions. They were already factored for you. This is a lesson where we're going to do the exact same thing, except the problems are not factored. You have to do that. This is why factoring is such an important concept. Even if you understand the last lesson on how to simplify rational expressions, how to cancel stuff on top and bottom of the same, how to simplify fractions, if you do not know how to factor, even if you know that last lesson perfectly, you will not be able to even start this problem because you cannot get to that step until you go through the factoring process. Now, I want to forewarn you, problem 1 is relatively straightforward and approachable. Problem 2, I wanted to give one that was really, really challenging. So this is both ends of the spectrum. The first one is going to be relatively straightforward. The second one is going to be a little bit of a jump in difficulty. So let's do this. Problem number 1. I have x squared plus 9x plus 20 on top, divided by x plus 2. And we're multiplying that by x plus 5 on top, and then x squared plus 6x plus 8 on bottom. First step is going to be factoring. Use whatever factoring technique you want, but in the top left portion, I am going to turn that into x plus 5 times x plus 4, all over x plus 2. And then I'm going to multiply that by the x plus 5 on top, and I'm going to factor the bottom right. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hack, a little bit of a cheat. Some students do not like this section because it involves a lot of factoring. I'm going to help you shortcut it just a little bit. Remember, I'm about to factor the bottom right portion, the x squared plus 6x plus 8. The entire point of us doing these problems is so things on top and bottom eliminate each other with one another. How much do you want to bet that either an x plus 5, an x plus 4, or an x plus 5 is going to show up down here? You can use that as kind of a guide. It's not guaranteed, but if you're noticing when you're doing an area model, whatever factoring technique you prefer, that's an option, I highly recommend you check that one first, because that factors into x plus 4 times x plus 2. Notice I have the same thing on top and bottom, because these problems were designed for us to eliminate values on the top and bottom of these rational expressions. And that'll get us our final answer of x plus 5 times x plus 5, which is x plus 5 quantity squared, over x plus 2 times x plus 2, which is x plus 2 quantity squared. And that is our answer. Before I start problem 2, there is a typo on it. It's supposed to be a minus 5 on the bottom. 5x squared minus 5. There we go. All right. This one's going to be challenging, largely because it involves a lot of factoring. In the top left, I have 2x to the 4th plus 6x cubed minus 36x squared, all divided by 5x squared minus 5. And I'm going to take that first fraction and divide it by this new fraction, with the numerator being 8x cubed minus 56x squared plus 96x. And that's all divided by 5x squared plus 35x plus 30. This problem is challenging just because it involves a lot of factoring. Once you get through the factoring process, it's really straightforward. You're just canceling stuff. So, without further ado, let's hop into it. First thing I'm going to do is not factor anything. I'm just going to take the second fraction and flip and multiply. So I'm still going to write 2x to the 4th plus 6x cubed minus 36x squared divided by 5x squared minus 5. And I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So I'm going to flip it upside down, put the 5x squared plus 35x plus 30 on top. And then I'm going to write the 8x cubed minus 56x squared plus 96x on bottom. All right, first step done. Flip and multiply. Next, we got to factor all 4 of those components. Top left, I'm going to use my favorite factoring technique, GCF. All the leading coefficients, the 2, the 6, and the 36, are all even, so I can pull out a 2. I have an x to the 4th, an x to the 3rd, and an x squared. So they could all have an x squared pulled out of them. And that'll leave me with x squared plus 3x minus 18. That's divided by 5x squared minus 5. I can pull a 5 out. That'll become 5 times the quantity of x squared minus 1 times 5x squared plus 35x plus 30. I can pull a 5 out of that. And then the very last part, bottom right, 8x cubed minus 56x squared plus 96x. Those are all divisible by 8 and x. And that'll leave me with x squared minus 7x plus 96 divided by 8 is 12. All right, did GCF. Now I got to do the other factoring techniques. This will become 2x squared times x plus 6 times x minus 3, all divided by 5 times x plus 1 times x minus 1, because that's a difference of squares, times, and now if you want to keep doing factoring, go right ahead. I am going to cheat a little bit, because I'm willing to bet that when I factor this, either x plus 1 or x minus 1 is going to show up. How do I know that? Because these problems involve canceling on top and bottom. They can only cancel if they're the same on top and bottom. And lo and behold, if you factor that, you're going to get 5 times x plus 1 times x plus 6. The x plus 1, what do you know, showed up on top and bottom. Same thing with the bottom portion. When I factor the x squared minus 7x plus 12, how much do you want to bet? One of these is going to show up. How do I know that? Because if one of these shows up, then I'll be able to eliminate, which is what this entire section is on. And, spoiler, we get 8x times x minus 3 times x minus 4. Whew. All the factoring is now done. Now we get to do the fun part, which is eliminating stuff that's the same on top and bottom. I have a 5 and a 5. They eliminate. I have an x plus 1 and an x plus 1. They eliminate. I have an x minus 3 and an x minus 3. They eliminate. I have this x, and it'll eliminate with one of the two x's. This 2 will eliminate with the 8 and turn it into a 4. I think that's everything. I have an x plus 6 doubled up on top. So I'm going to give myself just like a wee bit more space just to write my final answer. So that x survived on top. I have an x plus 6 and an x plus 6, which is x plus 6 squared. And what survived on bottom? X minus 1 and x minus 4. And that is my solution. Again, this is like expert level 10, level 9 difficulty. I'll leave a little more room. I could make it a little more difficult. This is not what's going to show up on the test. This will show up on the latter end of the work that you have in front of you. This is designed to be extra challenging. Helps if I remember the 4. There we go.